One of the first things to explore when shaping your birth preferences are your sensory needs. What are you going to need during your birth to help you get into that just right state, which we talk a lot about in the sensory integration and pregnancy module in the mind section of this class. Let's dive into those sensory needs. Lighting. That's going to be really important to help you relax. It's also going to be really important to help oxytocin, the hormone that controls contractions, to flow. So dim, low lighting is what you would want to create in the room wherever you're going to birth. The next would be temperature. Your temperature is going to fluctuate a lot during labor. So be comfortable asking for the temp to be turned up or down depending on what you need. If you're too cold, it's going to make your muscles really tight and not help you to be able to relax. If you're too hot, you're going to be distracted by being overly warm and unable to really move your body in the ways that you need to or be able to rest. Smells. The smell of the room that you're in is also going to dictate how comfortable you feel. As you've already talked about, essential oils like lavender, rose geranium, neroli, these are smells that can come into the room in a number of ways, whether that's through a diffuser, placing it on a tissue or cotton ball, or just rubbing it in your hands and breathing it in. The idea here is that that continuous smell factor can help you relax, especially as you're going through all the different stages of labor. The next would be to think about your auditory needs. What sounds do you need to have in the environment in order for you to feel like you can get into that just right state? Maybe you need no sounds at all. So something like noise canceling headphones could be really helpful, or white noise, that kind of constant hum in the background might be what you need. Or you need music that you really love, and so making a playlist might be a good idea. But again, right sizing exactly what you need for that perfect sonic environment is going to be really important as well during your birth. And lastly, there's comfort objects, which can look like a lot of different things. Basically, anything that you have in your home that makes you feel really comfortable is something that you either want to bring into the room if you're going to be birthing at home, or bring with you to wherever you're going to be going. Another way to look at it could be, what sensory tools do you need to bring into your birthing experience to help you, again, get into that just right state? So it might be worth revisiting the sensory integration and pregnancy module to get reaccustomed with what sensory tools you might need. How you're going to be monitored during your labor will really impact the experience and what you're able to do and how you're able to move. Now, when building your preferences, it's important to keep in mind that monitoring is directly connected to how you want to manage your pain during labor. So if you're planning for an unmedicated birth, ideally the type of monitoring that you'll want to have is intermittent, meaning that it's not happening all the time, and you'll have periods of time when you and the baby aren't being monitored, which will allow you to move around. If you're planning to have a medicated birth, which means that you'll be using an epidural, you're going to have continuous monitoring, which means that you and the baby will constantly be monitored for heart tones and frequency of contractions, which means there'll be a lot of limitation to your movement. So keep that in mind when thinking about how you want to be monitored. You can also build in your support team into your preferences. Who would you like to have with you at your birth? So figuring out who you'd like to be there is going to be important. If you're going to have doula support and that doula is supporting you virtually, or whoever your support person is supporting you virtually, really messaging that to your care provider so that they know that there will be another presence there, and making sure that it's okay to have, say, a tripod available to be able to make sure that whomever you're wanting to have support you virtually can be in the room with you. Interventions in pain management are a critical part of your birth preferences. Using informed consent to decide how to build out this section is really going to be key. In the birth interventions module and in the unmedicated and medicated birth modules, I go into all the details that you need to help support this decision-making process. So when you're ready, head over there, take it all in, and then start building out your preferences from there. Your preferences immediately after birth matter too. What you want to keep in mind is, 1, what would you like to do with your placenta? 2, Would you like to have skin to skin time with your baby immediately after birth, which I would definitely recommend? And three, what are the newborn care procedures that you feel comfortable having offered to your baby? And I go into a lot of detail about newborn care preferences and newborn care procedures in our postpartum class. And finally, it's really important to embrace the idea of preferences over plans and be prepared to pivot. Preferences are what you would prefer to have happen if everything in your birth is going smoothly. And preferences means that if things don't go smoothly, you are prepared to pivot. Being prepared to pivot is informed consent and really clarifying your needs with your care provider and really understanding all the procedures and possibilities that could come up in your birth experience. Now, when it comes to plans, the only reason why I don't recommend a birth plan, and it's not language I like using, is that plans tend to be fixed and prescriptive, and birth is anything but that. So, leaning into preferences and leaning into your ability to pivot, these are the two skills that you really want to get anchored around as you are building out your birth preferences.